dry.
Trying to stay dry. And we are live.
Yeah.
Welcome to Urbanish Digital, everyone. I am your host, Redress, also one of the producers at Urbanish. And today we have a lovely guest, Yvette, with us today. How are you doing today?
Hello. I am wonderful. And yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to, go old school. My computer crashed on me, so I'm doing things on the phone and with a notebook today. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, it's gonna go well.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It
great.
will go well.
So Yvette, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from and what you
Yes,
do.
so I am from the South. I am a girl raised in the South. I am the founder of the Pink Print. It's a
Okay.
financial services firm where we teach credit education. I'm a credit education specialist,
Okay.
as
Wow.
well as do business loans and credit repair, as well as tax preparation. So I am the whole
Okay.
everything, the TLC of financial freedom, taxes, loans, and credit. I have been in business for myself since 2018. I
Okay.
am formerly the editor in chief of an urban publication,
Mm-hmm.
which I helped to build over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It started back in 1999, and I was one of the founding editors. I was a fashion editor and grew to editor in chief. And
Okay.
we
Wow.
spent um, many years growing the publication. It started off as an urban news weekly and eventually moved over to digital.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a part of Georgia becoming the Hollywood of the South.
Oh, that's
Played a
what's
very
up.
active role in it.
Pioneer. I love it.
Yeah.
So what got you into financial intelligence and education?
Well, media has been at my heart, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the areas of the publication was always amplifying Black business owners. That was a part of the
Mm-hmm.
mission of the publication, and so I learned a lot over the years, and
Mm-hmm.
in venturing out on my own, in doing media on my own, I realized that I needed another stream of income.
Mm-hmm.
So, I looked over, not for me, not sure how familiar you are with the Seven Mountain Ministry mandate, but there are seven mountains that in terms of for believers that we
Mm-hmm.
must conquer. And mine
Okay.
are entertainment, media, and economics.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm all about empowering our generation to be economically viable,
Mm-hmm.
independent,
Mm-hmm.
as well as I love culture and trend, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always pay the bills. So
That is true. And in our culture, just in the Black community itself, we don't really teach a lot when it comes to finances and credit and things like that. So I think it's amazing that you're reaching out to teach those things. I'm going to be honest, I was one of those kids. I really didn't get into credit and none of that until I was late in my 20s. I had ruined it and had to fix it and all that. So how important do you think it is for us to teach that in Black communities in our homes?
in order for us to be, we want social justice,
Yes.
absolutely, but we
Mm-hmm.
need economic parity, and
Exactly.
and we have to really, really be honest with ourselves when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
our finances, because we're not going to be able to sustain as a Black community. The Black
Exactly.
community will not sustain, and I'm not talking about communities of color. I'm speaking specifically about foundational Black people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're not going to survive as a race, and get ahead if we don't learn about become financially literate.
Yeah. That is very
Yeah.
important. So we talked about your digital African weekly with
Hmm.
the Steed Media Group.
Yes.
What was that like for you? Was there any challenges for you when you were in that area?
Yeah, so C Media Group is the parent company of Rolling Out
Okay.
magazine, and
Okay.
yes, it was extremely challenging because we were the first of our kind in
Uh-huh.
terms of being an urban publication and a national urban publication.
Mm-hmm.
We were a weekly,
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing like really print publication, and being a weekly, being a company that did a lot of bootstrapping,
Okay.
and being, we were the creative loafing on a national level.
Okay.
We tackled entertainment, we tackled lifestyle, culture, business, politics. We showed up for events. We were original content driven. So we
Okay.
took all of our own photos, did all of our own interviews,
Okay.
and
Wow.
yeah, we were hitting the streets. And and
All right, you cut out on me.
things have changed over time, but yeah,
Okay.
original content. And biggest competitor at the time was Jet Magazine. Did I lose
Okay.
you? Did you hear me? Did I lose you? Oh, I was saying our biggest
For
competitor at the time was Jet Magazine. Yeah.
okay, I love Jet. My grandparents had like piles of Jet. Like all you just see was Jet everywhere. So that's amazing. What
Did you
was
say
your
Jet? Did
role?
you say grandparents?
Yeah, my father, my dad, he loved the Jet magazine. He loved the little model section.
Okay, yeah. The beauty of the week. Yeah, they
The
had the
beauty of the
beauty of
week.
the
Yeah,
week.
I
Yeah,
remember Jet
yeah,
pretty well.
yeah.
So what was your role in that? Were you like with the writers, producers, managers? Like,
Okay, so with rolling out, I started off as the style editor per se.
okay,
I started interning and volunteering because I was working for the city of Atlanta, and then I
okay,
eventually moved on to become the style editor and grew into becoming the editor in chief.
okay, wow,
Yeah.
amazing. Congrats to you on that. That
Thank
is
you.
amazing. I also see that you're an author. And you have a
Yes.
book out. Yes. So tell us a little bit about your book. Sophia's Garden, 7-day devotional on wisdom.
Yeah. So Sophia's Garden is my 7-day devotional, and it's available on Amazon.
Yeah, I
And
saw.
it's an ebook that I wrote when I left the pub. When I left, when God decided it was time for
Mm-hmm.
rolling out to part and out of part ways. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
this book, sharing my experiences,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a robust publication, and it took I would say I gave it 120%. And
Okay.
it was not a 40-hour a week job. It was not a 9 to 5. It was a 7 24 kind of 7 kind of job, especially
Mm-hmm.
when we moved to the internet. And because we were original publication, like I said, we were in 19 cities nationwide. We
Mm-hmm.
did a lot of traveling. We was covering the 19 chocolate cities, the top black markets.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was always very intense. And when I was actually experiencing it, I knew that it was an amazing experience. But
Uh-huh.
because we were, so aggressively gathering content and doing coverage, and really, really amplifying the black community,
Mm-hmm.
um, I couldn't just sit back and enjoy it, because it was
Okay.
just always hit. We always hit the ground running. We were
Okay.
hustling, we were grinding, we were growing, and
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of actually having real lives. So I unpacked all of that into this
Okay.
book, and Sophia means wisdom in Greek, and so
Okay.
I named it Sophia's Garden. And just wanted to get back to actually applying wisdom principles that come from the good book, the Bible. So
Okay.
and I just
Can't beat
shared
that.
my experience, yeah, and the self discovery that I made along the way.
Okay. And speaking of the self-discovery, I know you were touching a little bit on the gifts and powers you believe that women are blessed with. Were those some of those things that you learned on along the way for yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I realized how strong women are. In my interviews, in my
Mm-hmm.
engagements, my encounters, and just I built such a vast network,
Mm-hmm.
and just I've just been so blessed, men and women, to
Mm-hmm.
engage and get to know people and learn, through them about different industries,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to explore, be able to travel, be able to connect. But yes, we are some amazing beings,
Yes, you
especially
are.
black women, especially black
Yes, you
women.
are. Yes, the most underrated, but the most powerful.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, if you guys haven't checked it out, go check out Sophia's Garden 7-day devotional on Amazon. And what would you want people to take from your book? What's one thing you want them to learn? They have to learn by reading your book.
I would hope that, by reading the book, Sophia's Garden, that people understand how infinitely blessed and gifted they are,
Mm-hmm.
and their purpose, their passion, and their power, their personal power that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that it encourages people to never give up,
Mm-hmm.
and to take one day at a time, because we never imagined that we would be living in a pandemic, right? And so
Yeah,
take nothing for granted. Take
exactly.
absolutely nothing for granted. All of the experiences that you're having, you're supposed to have them. These,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is coincidental. This is all
Mm-hmm.
divine, and just remain hopeful and joyous, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that because the climate that we're in now, something like this is very necessary and needed. I know a lot of people are going through depression. A lot of people have lost a lot during this pandemic, and a lot of people don't know how to really, handle it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's very important that we do take a step back to kind of just focus on ourselves, get back to the things that we love, get back to the things that we know we're great at, and really work on it at this time while God has given us this time to really just kind of just reset. So
Yes,
I think that's
that's right.
amazing.
That's right.
That's amazing. So do you have any inspirations, like who are any writers or people that you looked up to coming into this industry?
Oh wow, coming into this industry, wow, who didn't I look up to? I've never been a person that has been a fangirl per se
Mm-hmm.
over entertainers, but I have been inspired by like some real great entertainers like Cicely
Mm-hmm.
Tyson,
Love
Angela
Sicily.
Bassett. Oh my goodness. The list really could go on. And I'm gonna say this: when I came into this industry, one of the first people that in terms of publicity that
Mm-hmm.
really put us on were
Mm-hmm.
John Singleton in terms of film, but Ava DuVernay was the
Okay.
film publicist.
Oh
And the
wow.
very first media junket that I attended was, one that she coordinated. So I was able to work with her and another very, very infamous publicist, film publicist, Ross Stevenson. So they really
Okay.
helped to shape, helped me to shape our content, and just really open the door for us as a
Mm-hmm.
publication. And now, now that Ava's doing her thing, I'm like, wow, I was
Yeah.
there when she was a film publicist, and now here she is, this huge director. So,
Yeah. It's very important. That's dope. I
hmm.
feel that, because a lot of times we stay knocking at doors and sometimes we have to become our own door. I see that you've created some of your own things. Sometimes you have to create
Oh
your own
wow,
door.
that
So
that is so absolutely true.
mhm. So tell us, what do you feel about the representation of Black people or urban culture on the media? Do you think it's an even spread of positive messages versus negative messages, or any stories you think that should be highlighted a little bit more?
I think our stories aren't highlighted. I think we've and maybe I feel this way because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
in the industry anymore per se in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my own thing in terms of YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel where I'm starting
Okay.
to speak out a little bit more. YouTube.com/Yvette Caslin, put that plug
Okay.
in. But yes, so I
Definitely.
I feel that we don't have enough informed voices that are independent thinkers,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think even speaking of this upcoming election,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's really being honest that Black people aren't feeling any of the
Exactly.
candidates. Nobody's really being honest about that. And I think people just
Mm-hmm.
assumed that we were going to vote a certain way, that we're going to vote a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody really has our interests at heart,
No, it's true.
unfortunately, as a community. If you'll pay attention to the major media outlets,
Yeah.
whenever somebody says Black, it always, the person responded, their response is typically, well, all people or people of color. That's so ambiguous. When I
Yeah.
I want you to stick with Black, if that
Yeah.
makes
Because we have
sense.
our own issues.
We are not monolithic.
Mm-hmm.
We are we're we don't want to fall into the ambiguity, but we are a Black community, foundational Black people here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
um People in that come from, by way of the diaspora. We have some real interests that
Mm-hmm.
no candidate is addressing,
Yeah, that's true.
you
That is
know
very true.
and I am a member of a Greek organization, one of the Divine Nine, and that's not enough for me to say that somebody's with the Divine Nine. I need to know that you are for Black people.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be a tough election. I know people really aren't feeling Biden, and the VP's picked out. We got to get Donald Trump out of here. I don't know. I'm a little scared for this one because I just feel like, the last time I feel like we didn't get out and vote enough because we just felt like Hillary was going to win. So I hope people get out and vote, and we just pray for the best.
Okay. Can I speak on that?
Yes.
Hillary got the popular vote. So
yes,
we
she
did
did
get out and vote. We just need to be honest that Donald Trump got a certain segment of people that nobody expected him to secure.
Exactly. Because I remember going to sleep. I remember going to sleep that night. It was like, okay, Hillary won. And I woke up and it was in a twilight zone. I was like, why, and how did this happen? And he's just been tearing the country apart ever since. So,
and that's the thing with Sophia's Garden. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we, what we have to realize is there is a higher power because we made it through these 4 years. And then when you look back, these 4 years went by a lot faster than we expected.
It did. it really did.
So we answer to a higher power, no matter how this election turns out November 3rd.
Yeah.
No matter how the court case turns out with Cardi B and Offset November 4th.
Speaking of Cardi, how do you feel about Cardi sticking her nose in political business? I just really feel like she should stick to rapping.
Well, you know what? I applaud Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, for trying to reach a certain group of people. Yeah, trying to reach a certain group of people, and I love Cardi B. I think she's beautiful. I love her talent. I love the fact that she's growing and that she's the glow up. I love everything about it. But again, Cardi B doesn't represent everybody. She is, Cardi B. I don't think she identifies as Black. She identifies as Black Latino,
tough. Yeah, because sometimes she does and then sometimes she doesn't. It's like when it comes, especially when it comes to the N-word, it's like, now I'm Black. When any other time you're like, Dominican she is, or Latino somewhere.
Yeah, whatever, wherever. I can't think right now.
Me
but
either.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So the parties are so tone deaf. They just assume because we like people's music that's enough. That we're monolithic and that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So upon doing my research, and excuse me, I see that very smart woman you are.
Well,
you graduated high school at 16. How was that for you?
Yes. Okay, so I was a teen mom. So I I was an A student, doing all advanced placement classes, and I was a little girl. So I got a baby,
It happens.
Even though I was intellectually, I was superior. I say superior intellectually. I just like saying that in certain company, just being really silly. But for the most part, I was intellectually ahead, but I was emotionally immature, and didn't really know what I was doing. I have a beautiful daughter. She's 33, and I'm a grandmother. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter. Okay. So I have no regrets because when my granddaughter came, I said, "Oh, this is why I became a mom," because I absolutely adore her. But it was tough. I went to an alternative school. That's how I was able to graduate at 16. And I went on to finish undergraduate, went on to get my master's degree. And then last year I received an honorary doctorate out in
technology,
in California. Yeah, out in California.
No, theological.
So, yeah, in theological studies. So yes, thank you.
Well, congratulations to you. I know how hard that can be. Not from personal experience, but I do have 2 sisters that did have children at 15 and 16, and that could be very difficult. Graduating and moving on and becoming something, but the great inspiration from you is just look where you've gotten to, in that predicament at 16, having a baby, graduating early, and you've built this empire. And a lot of people haven't done that with graduating at 18.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing. That is amazing.
Yeah. The hard thing about hard things, so.
Exactly. Well, you found a silver lining, and that's awesome. So I see you got your criminal justice. What got you into criminal justice?
So I had a cousin. She was the first person in our family to go to college, so that was her major.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
attended the same school she attended, and I had the same
Hmm.
degree, So because that was
Okay.
what I knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of times
That was all I knew.
yeah, we do what we
Yeah,
only
we,
know how
we
to
we don't
do.
necessarily do we don't necessarily do what people say. We do what they do. So
Hmm.
I did what she did, and it worked for her. But I never even entered the criminal justice field.
Okay. So is that why you went into the urban studies?
Yeah, when right after I went on into grad school, after I worked a little bit at the Red Cross, I went on to grad school. I was thinking about doing a criminal justice master's and moving to
Hmm.
to Virginia, going to Virginia Commonwealth, and then I took a visit there, and I'm like, well, no, I don't really want to leave my family, and
Hmm.
be a single mom out here when we got great schools in Atlanta.
Hmm.
So I attended Georgia State, and it was a new program, and I received a
Hmm.
fellowship, and so I had a free ride. So hey,
Okay.
yeah, I had a
Okay.
free ride on my
Scholarship.
graduate, yeah, the graduate level because I had a fellowship that paid everything.
Okay. That's awesome. Um,
Hmm.
Throughout your journey and the things that you've learned, lessons you've learned, are there any key points or any advice you would give to anybody that wants to walk in your shoes and wants to do some of the things that you have done? Anything they should look out for, or things they should do to prepare?
Okay, so I got saved at 14, and
Okay.
and I I still lived my life. I believe that you're supposed to live every day happy.
Mm-hmm.
I was never really religious person. I was more about
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And, people
Okay.
talk about it now, it's like a buzzword, but I just
Mm-hmm.
trust the process. I trust God. When I
Mm-hmm.
spoke it, it happened. And
Okay.
and that's all you can do. When
Mm-hmm.
take your cares to God, in
Mm-hmm.
prayer, and it's not just a cliche. It is what
Mm-hmm.
has sustained me. I even would speak it, and I would
Mm-hmm.
follow, if God promised this, I would say it, and I
Mm-hmm.
believed it. There are times that I didn't believe it, when I was going through the dark times, when I left
Mm-hmm.
Rolling Out, when we parted ways, I was in the valley,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept saying to God, I trust you, I trust you, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep saying it until I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when I just didn't know, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I need to go get a job. And I would go and apply for jobs. I
Mm-hmm.
even went and applied for a job with this cannabis company, had like 8 interviews. And
Okay.
then I realized, when they said, well, we decided to go a different, direction, they didn't even hire anybody for the position because after 8 interviews, I had did the consultation form. I pretty much solved their problem. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, so they took my advice, when I went and checked the website, they did everything because they thought they needed a journalist, person
Mm-hmm.
with a journalist, background to run the website. Everything that I said during the interview, I realized they needed to be sending me a check, because they took the
Exactly.
advice, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't hire me, but and later learned that they just never fill the position, because they had got
Okay.
at no cost.
All right. So power of your word. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. 'Cause
your word is impeccable. And I have always, made it, I tell myself, I am going to, that my words, I need to
mhm,
speak wise words, and you
you
wake up
do.
every day. You wake up every day having to make a choice. And I wake up every day, asking God, how do you want me to serve today?
Hmm.
And I follow that. I read a lot, and I really follow that. And I suggest people, find some good authors. I signed up for Audible.
Hmm.
So when I'm sitting working, and I also, I didn't share this, but I work for a startup, a digital network, streaming network, and was hired as a VP of casting and talent development.
Okay.
So I started, yeah. So I'm with the startup, and we're growing the brand, and so that's how I'm still connected in a sense, in terms of media.
Okay. So tell us
And it's
about
a digital
that brand. What's
streaming
the name of that one?
platform. It's called Events TV, and our content is travel and events. And then we're speaking of travel, and of course, meeting events, corporate events. That's the kind of content that you'll be able to find on
Okay.
our site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So I love that, especially when it comes to the power of your word, because I feel like a lot of people sometimes don't realize what you put out into the universe is what God gives you.
That's it.
So you wake up with negative thoughts, you wake up with negative things about yourself, you say these negative things, you're gonna bring them to you're gonna bring them into reality. So is that
Hmm.
one of the things you touch on in your book? Is just the power of your word?
Yes,
Yeah.
using wise words. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
a person that believes that, if it's a 31-day month,
Mm-hmm.
pick up the book of Proverbs and read a proverb every day. You read the
Mm-hmm.
entire chapter for that day, for the 31 days. If you just do it 2 or 3 times a year,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that you do it. I get something new every time I read the book of Proverbs, which is a book of wisdom.
Okay.
I get
You,
something new out of it.
you're gonna make me go pick it up after this interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the book of
Yeah,
wisdom. It was,
it's true.
Solomon, written by Solomon, and it
Mm-hmm.
is the book of wisdom, and it will transform your life. I've been doing it for about maybe 12, 13 years,
Mm-hmm.
at least 3 times a year, read it, and I get something new out of it every single time. Yeah.
And that's amazing that every time you get something different out of it, or a different perspective, or a new
Hmm.
epiphany about yourself and just the world in general. So that's really, really good
Yes.
idea. Um, Tell us what you have lined up in the future. Is anything you have coming up in the future that you want to share?
You know, I don't. I'm working on this where I want to. It has everything to do with the continent
Mm-hmm.
of Africa, and it hasn't quite evolved yet. I haven't really fleshed it out. So I'm about
Mm-hmm.
to go into a period of fasting and praying and meditating about it, and just
Mm-hmm.
waiting to hear from God, like what it will be. But I'm putting it out in the
Okay.
universe because maybe somebody's listening that
You
has a
never know.
need. Or yeah, exactly. Like my cousin, she has in Accra, she has a school
Mm-hmm.
that she did a couple of years ago, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll be something in Accra, through her school, or I don't know yet. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
just praying about it and meditating on it and doing a little bit of fasting. So
Yeah, well, I know whatever it is going to be amazing, and we at Urbanish cannot wait to
thank
see how
you.
you bloom and blossom and what's next for you. You've already had such an amazing journey, so anything else is going to be a bonus for you. So look forward to
Yeah,
that.
I take
Um,
those words humbly. Thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate you.
Hmm.
Um, Tell the people where they can find you. You have social media, websites, or anything?
Yeah, so I'm Yvette Caslin on across all platforms, but I have a site for my financial services firm on Instagram. It's the Pink
Okay.
Print CEO,
Okay.
and my website, of course, is YvetteCaslin.com. Like I said, I have this but it's not a new YouTube channel, but it's a
Hmm.
rebranded YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Yvette Caslin, and like I said, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Yvette Caslin.
All right. Well, there you have it, people. I hope you enjoyed our interview today. That is our
Oh,
time for today.
absolutely,
We appreciate
absolutely.
you, and we cannot wait to interview again. I possibly work with you sometime in the future. So you never
Yes,
know.
yes. Hey, speak it into existence.
I will.
All
All
right.
right. Well, you take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.